Everyone, she was cuddly, Kitwana. I think I can stop collecting Lion King stuff after getting this item. Or, well, maybe not, because this episode is about one of the very holy grails of Lion King toys, of Lion King merchandise altogether, but also this story about an eBay purchase having gone somewhat wrong. I mean, that's what I got, and what's on the screen now is what I was promised, and we can read words like mint condition, mint sealed condition, pristine, factory sealed, minor water damage. Well, wouldn't call that minor, but still, I thought I would make an episode dedicated to this fantastic action figure set. What we've got here is nothing less than Mattel's 1994 Roaring Kings action figure set. And this set is very, very, very special. It is the rarest ever piece of Lion King toys ever made, and got a special story. This set was only available for like a couple weeks at Walt Disney World in Florida and Disneyland in California, and it's never even been mentioned by Mattel that they would release it. It was never part of any catalog or promotional stuff. It was never even mentioned on the back of the packaging, where they would usually feature some of the other action figure and play sets that they had released over time. But yet it exists, and it looks like some of them ultimately ended up at Toys R Us when they didn't sell at the parks for $14.99. That's an interesting fun fact. And what we've got in here are 4 different action figures. But let's take a look at the box, which is almost dissolving itself the moment I handle it, and causes a big mess on my table eventually. But let's look at the box. This one's nothing different than the other action figure sets that you can see in the background. It's got the Lion King logo and some artwork, grimy artwork of Adult Simba in Scar. And I really love this artwork down here with Simba fighting Scar, and we've got the 2 of the hyenas as well. And the special feature are the electronic sounds. And as said, it was made by Mattel. Item number 66371 if you want to hunt them down online. And the back of the box, I already showed you, it is quite beaten up, but basically has the story of the Lion King. And it looks pretty much the same like some of the other action figure sets that were released by Mattel in 1994. And with the box being in such a bad shape, I guess I simply have to consider this a loose set. And it's definitely not factory sealed, as the seller claimed. So I can unbox this actually right in front of your eyes for this episode. Of course, you would never unbox a Roaring Kings set if you are some of the lucky people to own one, but we can safely do this here because the box has been destroyed anyway. And the blister actually has been loose as well, so the seller didn't mention that either, so I was simply able to slide that blister out, and we can take a look at the figures. And we will do that using my Pride Rock playset. Pride Rock playset that we have looked at in episode number 81. Let's set everyone up. So this set contains 4 figures, and I want to start with looking at the hyenas. We've got Ed and Shenzi in here, and as a fun fact, Ed is actually exclusive to this set. There has been no other Mattel set that included Ed. So if you have an Ed action figure in your collection and it's made by Mattel, then it's definitely part of the Roaring King set, and then you can consider yourself very lucky, as even the individual figures are worth a 3-digit amount each. Let's take a look on these 2 figures. The usual Mattel quality, very detailed faces, excellent paint job. Look at their bodies, their markings, and they actually don't have an action feature, even though it almost looks like one of them is able to move its head, but the only thing that's possible are actually all of their 4 legs. Nevertheless, these are really cool figures, and then we move on to Scar. And the first thing we want to check out is, does he actually have his scar? And yes, he does, across his left eye. You can see it right here, very detailed face as well, with the teeth and everything is there. Black mane, and look at his body. You can see his muscles, his ribs. He's got his claws out, nice long tail and everything. Typically Scar. I really like the molds that Mattel has created for these figures. And as far as the action features go, we will speak about that in a minute. First, I'd like to take a look on Adult Simba as well, which is definitely my favorite figure of this set. Look at his face, it's clearly recognizable as Adult Simba and not Mufasa. Mattel has done a great job to differentiate these 2 characters. Not every toy maker is able to do that, but here you can see clearly that cute, handsome face of the rightful Lion King. I'm not sure what caused the red on top of his body. It looks like all of the figures have been like that out of the package. Even some of the other Mattel action figures, like the fighting action Adult Simba, had that problem as well. Probably caused by the plastic they were packaged in. So that's Simba, and then we want to talk about the action features of these figures. And they not only have posable legs, but also a roaring feature. That's why they are called the Roaring Kings, and that's what makes this set so special. So let's see whether Scar is still able to roar, and for that we have to press that button that's neatly integrated into his mane, and that button makes his front legs kick. and his mouth opens and closes, but you cannot hear anything, so that made me wonder, are the batteries empty? And so I had to open the battery compartment, take the crosshead screwdriver, and yes, unfortunately the whole thing is corroded. The batteries have leaked over the past 31 years, which is not surprising actually. It happens. So I'm not blaming the seller there. They couldn't know because you cannot see from the outside. So, but unfortunately we won't know how Scar roars, how that roar sounds like. And I've tried with new batteries, but of course the contacts are too corroded, so I didn't get anything out of him. But fortunately, I'm really lucky to own duplicates of both Scar and Simba. And I've got them back here on my shelf. Got Simba and Scar. Oh wow. The Roaring King Simba and Scar. Duplicates of them, and fortunately the roaring feature on my Simba, on one of my Simba figures, still works. It doesn't work anymore on the one that's been included in the boxed set that I got, but I happened to get them loose a couple of years ago. And let's hear, the action feature on Simba is also being triggered by a button that's neatly integrated into his mane. I really love how Mattel did that. You can see the front legs kick as well, just as they do on Scar, and there's a roar to be heard. Yeah, that's super cool. Would be nice if Scar would still roar back at Simba, but at least we get to hear how that roar sounds like, and I suppose they use the same roar on Scar as well. It's a known issue for the roaring feature to fail on one of these figures. It's usually Scar that has the problem. I don't know what caused it. Probably a bad soldering spot or some other problem with the speaker or the electronics in general. But it's not surprising, given these figures are 31 years old. Still, even without the roaring feature, these are excellent action figures, and some of my very favorites. And you probably may ask yourself, how do the Roaring Kings figures compare to some of the other Mattel action figures? Because that's not the only versions of Scar and Adult Simba that Mattel has released. And for that, I've got the fighting action Simba and Scar action figures with me that we have looked at in episode number 58. And when we directly compare them with each other, you can see the Roaring Kings Simba and Scar figures are actually slightly more bulkier, slightly larger, because they have to hold the battery compartment and the electronics. So it is roughly the same scale like the other Mattel action figures, and they do fit. They do go well with the Pride Rock playset, but they are definitely more bulky, and you can see they use different molds. You can see Simba has got his claws out, and the front legs are molded in a way so they can fight each other like this. Okay, so that's been a detailed look on these figures, and actually I think I still want to keep that box as long as it's not completely falling apart. And I want to put the figures back into the blister and put the blister back in the box. I can still glue it or tape it in there, and that the box would still make an excellent display piece. So let's pack things up, and then finally I'm going to share some more facts about it that may help you finding these figures. Alright, got everything packed up as good as it was possible, of course. I may glue that blister back onto the box after completion of this video, but you can see it displays relatively well. It just caused a big mess on my table. So if you want to hunt down this set on your own, of course the best place to go is eBay. There's also various Lion King collector groups on Facebook, and if you want to look them up online, of course you would search for something like Mattel Roaring Kings, Lion King, and or something like that. But another trick, a somewhat secret trick that I can tell you is not only search for the actual term of the set, but also look up something like Lion King lot or Lion King figure lot or Lion King figure set, because not all the people who sell this stuff realize what treasure that actually is, and not everyone's really knowledgeable about Lion King toys. Sometimes it just ends up in a random lot or on some kind of a flea market garage sale or whatever. But you're definitely sitting on a treasure, even if you have the figures individually, not in a perfect box. I guess I just have to treat the set as a set of individual figures and not a boxed one. Since the box is in such a terrible shape. At the time I was making this video in April 2025, there was only one other boxed set of the Roaring Kings on eBay, and it was well over $1,000, like $1,400 or something. I'll give you a screenshot right here, if I remember correctly, and well, the box looks like in a rather good condition. It still was a little bit too much for me. I paid a low 3-digit amount for that, and what the seller mentioned, they had documented the water damage on the back of the box, but of course would not mention the loose blister, and it wasn't actually factory sealed or anything. So I guess I just have to consider that as a loose set. And even on an individual basis, these figures are worth 3-digit amounts. A loose Roaring King Simba or Scar can easily go for anything between $100 or $300, even $300. When I researched for this video, there was actually also a set of individual figures on eBay that was for like $2.99, if I remember correctly. Anyway, I've got you a screenshot here. And so yes, it's definitely possible to get your paws on either a boxed or individual set of the Roaring Kings figures, but they have become really rare, and I don't know how many of them were actually manufactured. I think a couple hundred at best, back then in 1994, 31 years ago. And you can consider yourself a really lucky Lion King collector if you happen to have even one of the figures, especially Ed, the hyena, which has never been part of any other set, or of course these two special lions that have a unique mold that is different from all other Mattel action figures. Even if the roaring feature doesn't work anymore, they are still pretty fun to display and play with them, and I'm really glad I happen to have duplicates of the lions and an entire Roaring Kings figure set. So thank you so much for watching this special episode of Kitwana's Toys, which so far seems to be the only video featuring the Roaring Kings action figure set on YouTube. I was pretty surprised no one else has ever featured it. I've seen, of course, a couple of photos, but never a video about it. And yeah, it means so much that I was able to show you this special set of Lion King action figures. And thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you on the next episode of Kitwana's Toys. Goodbye.